Good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this March 15th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. And I'm glad you're here because I'm here by myself this morning. Kyle is not here. The apartment that he lives in is above a business, and that business was broken into last night. And so he got very little sleep. I guess the police came, they arrested the guy. So anyhow, I got a text, but when I got up this morning, there was a text message saying, "Hey, sorry, you're going solo this morning," which is really not my thing. I'm more of kind of a bounce stuff off people rather than doing it by myself without some preparation. But that's okay. Here we are. So I'm glad you're here. And here in just a little bit, we're going to have Alma from Remax with us. I really do need your comments. But again, we have two different Facebook streams going. And so if you comment, probably the Facebook stream that I really need you to comment in is the one that has fewer viewers. So if you want to actively be a part of the show, find that one. I do have the other one up, but it's not in front of me directly. So anyhow, this is on top of everything else. It's awkward. So sorry. That's just kind of how it is. So I really appreciate you all being here today, and we can kind of have a conversation. This is kind of your chance to ask me anything after we get done here in just a bit. We'll have some time after I speak with Alma, but just appreciate you guys being here and involve yourself in the conversation. Otherwise, it's going to be a really short show, which is probably going to be a shorter show anyhow. So, but let's start like we always do and take a look at this drizzly weather. For those of you who don't know, this is our weather cam that's in downtown La Grande. It sits right on the corner of our building. Our building is in the corner of 4th and Adams. We share the building with Marketplace Fresh Foods. And as that camera pans towards Mount Emily, I guess we can see a little bit of it. The top of it's covered. But what a beautiful place that we live, isn't it? In spite of the drizzle and the rain and spring. I think spring is coming soon. I mean, like the official date when spring begins seems like it's this weekend. So let's take a listen to Gabe and see what his weather forecast is for us.
Heading into the day on Tuesday, most of us will be topping out into the 40s and 50s, although nearing that 60-degree mark by the time we hit Pendleton in Ontario. Other than steady rain continuing through mid-morning, I'll break into numerous scattered showers, especially more towards the north, and increasing sun breaks will lead to instability, so I'm tracking the possibility of areas seeing some thunderstorms, some hailstorms, some heavy showers, especially east of I-84 heading into the afternoon hours. Heading into the day on Tuesday for La Grande, it does look like this. Like I said, steady rain to start, but that quickly breaks up into scattered showers as we see that increasing sunshine. I think we'll hit our high temperature in the early parts of the afternoon hours, adds that increasing chance of numerous heavy showers with possibility of seeing some storms in the mix. We'll start to cool things down heading into the evening hours. Southerly winds in the morning will begin fairly light, gusting up to 35 miles an hour as turning to the west in the afternoon. Heading into my short-term forecast for the Grand Ronde Valley, tracking a high of 50 degrees for Tuesday. We'll drop into the lower 30s overnight as we see a mix of maybe some rain and snow showers. Heading into Wednesday, we should be dry by the second part of the afternoon hours as temperatures top out into the mid-40s.
There he is. I tell you, that kid is just amazing. For those of you that don't know that story, Gabe Curtis lives out in Somerville. He moved here probably 2 years ago with his family and loves weather. And he does that weather for us every day. And so happy to have him as he's just a consistent person, consistent employee. Thank you, Gabe, if you happen to be watching. And thank you for your work and what it is that you do. And forecasting the weather in this area is a little bit more, it's a little bit old school. He compares several different models and comes up with a forecast. We do not have radar in this area. Weather is a lot, you can see the current weather patterns or the clouds or the current storms with radar. Well, there's a radar station in Pendleton, but it does not get over the hill to our valley. And so really appreciate what Gabe does and the way he does it. All right. So here in just a minute, we're going to have Alma Crow with us, and we'll be right back. Hey, Alma, how are you doing?
Good. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad that you're here with me. Otherwise, I'd be all alone this morning.
Oh, me too. No, I think you would be just fine.
So, how are things going for you? And I don't know. Let's just start there. How are you and your family?
Good.
You've got you've got 3 kids, right? I'm trying to remember.
Yep. I have my daughter Riley, Dace, and Dress.
Yeah,
I have 3 little ones, and they definitely keep me busy. Sweet, sweet kids. I love them.
yeah. And Sean, your husband, is an author, and he works at Riverbend. Is that right? I'm
Yes.
trying to remember. Yeah,
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
and
That
yeah,
keeps them busy writing and working out there. And then, of course, us and the kiddos. He's, yeah, definitely. It keeps us going.
yeah. Well, and I mean, you have just such a beautiful family. I
Thank
see I
you.
see you at church every once in a while, and man, it just I mean, you guys are, especially you and Sean are both fit. You're into fitness, and so it's just I just really admire your family.
Oh,
So
thank you. We tried to stay active. I I feel that that's really important, and so we try to keep that going as well for our children with COVID and them just being at home. My sons are jumping everywhere, and so it's just nice for them to get out, even if it is to the park or the trails. So
Yeah. Well, and let's start there. You are real involved you're a track coach. I mean, that's kind of your other life, and you were that really before you were a real estate agent, right? I mean,
Mhm.
talk about that a little bit.
Yes, so I coach cross country at the high school, and
Thank you.
so I've been coaching, gosh, for 10 years already.
Wow.
It feels nuts to think that I've been doing it for that long, but I guess when you're having fun, it goes by really fast. And all the kids, that I have coached over the years, some of them, like Bennett,
Right.
I see them now, and they're young men. And I remember once upon a time they were just to my shoulder, and now they're taller than me.
Yeah.
And I'll see them around town, and now I'm to their shoulders.
Yeah.
So it's just a neat little thing.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, no, and I'm sure that's incredibly rewarding. I mean, I know it is for me. We have Bennett in common, and I'm sorry, he corrects me all the time. No, Brent, it's cross country. It's not. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so, um, uh, but I mean, just to watch kids develop, have the opportunity to mentor them along, to speak into their lives, maybe when they really need it.
Yeah,
Uh,
it really is a privilege. I try to stay in touch with all my athletes, and even some of them when they come in town, they text me if I want to have lunch with them, and to me, I think that that's a privilege that they still call me after all these years. Um, One of the twins, McLean, he's a Marine now, and whenever he's in town, he always calls me. And Maya Vanderblue, there's a lot of kiddos that I still hear from.
wow.
So it's really neat.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for doing that, and thanks for investing, because that is a huge deal. I I don't think I really put it together. I mean, those businesses that choose to be downtown, and Remax is one of them. I mean, part of that is investing in the community and investing in people, and those people that outside of their job, outside of what they're doing professionally to make a living, who spend their time being involved in organizations or coaching or whatever the case might be. It just makes a huge difference. I mean, it makes,
Yeah. And I
yeah,
think it's important, as to be involved in the community, especially as a young adult. I mean,
yeah,
I think there's a lot of teenagers out there that they need help, or they just need somebody there to, as simple as cross country, make them run a couple miles. And maybe at the time they're like, why did I choose to do this? But they always stick around, and they love it. So I think it's important for, to be involved in the community.
yeah. Well, and I personally find that it's the moments that were unplanned that you have that little bit of conversation, or you have that little bit of margin where something spontaneous, a conversation happens, or that's just, you only get to those places after spending lots and lots of time. It's kind of like with your kids.
Hmm. Yep. With cross country, we also offer a camp during the summer.
Hmm.
And so some of these kiddos, I see them starting June all the way till November till we have state. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of, I always tell them during season that it's so important that we communicate, and that we have a relationship, because we see each other every day for about 5 months. So
Right.
we might as well, get to know each other while we're doing it.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, hey, so specifically, we want to talk about uh, real estate and what's happening in real estate. And I was just telling you before the show got started about my daughter sold a house in Portland and moved to uh, uh, Vancouver area, just across the river. And that market is just crazy. But our market here is also uh, just incredibly complicated. And so I mean, and I kind of sympathize with the buyers, people who really are wanting a home. This is just a really complicated market for them. So why don't you talk about that a little bit? Tell
Well,
us about that.
well, if you're a buyer in this market, I think it's so important to have a real estate agent, maybe now more than ever, uh, just because uh, you do need somebody to represent you that knows how to deal with the process, that knows how to negotiate well, and that knows the market. Because as a real estate agent, you know what the sellers are looking for. And so it's so important that when you make an offer, you play your client's best assets. What do they have to offer? And from a buyer, I mean, there's, I'm sure some people have seen, especially, on Zillow, how few inventory there is. So if you're a buyer, you definitely need to be ready to go, be pre-approved, have your ducks all in a row, and also, have a real estate agent that knows you well, that knows what you're looking for, and that's pretty much ready to go anytime because like you said, when something comes in the market, you need to be ready to go. This isn't the time to sit around and wait till next weekend because maybe it'll be there, it won't, it'll be pending. So it's definitely let's get going, let's get this, let's go look at the house and go from there.
So, how long locally are you seeing that homes are staying on the market? I mean, yeah.
Goodness, it depends on the type of home, um, because it could be 48 hours or it could be a couple days, it could be a weekend. The only way I'm seeing homes staying on the market more than a week is because the listing agent has posted on private remarks, hey, we are not reviewing any contracts until next week. And that is the
Ah,
only way. But if that doesn't get done, couple days, depending
wow.
on what the home is. Yep.
so, so the only, yeah, I mean, just to restate that, the only way that a house is staying on the market for very long at all is like if somebody says, which is what they did with my daughter's house in Portland, is yeah, it's open this period of time and we're taking contracts until this
Yep.
offers until this point. And but pretty much as soon as the offers are
Reviewed.
closed,
Hmm.
yeah, or reviewed, the house is
It's
sold in one
pending.
way or another. Yeah.
Yep. And I think it's so important, for buyers to understand that when something comes on the market and you see it and you want to go look at it, call us. We'll be there literally in an hour, depending on how fast we can actually get in to look at it. Because if you're out of town, and that's another thing, we can do a video chat where if you're out of town, we can do, I mean, there's a lot of different ways we can show properties. So something else to consider.
The house when I bought a house from Shauna several years ago, and it was a pretty casual thing. I mean, the market was. I mean it. I mean I didn't know if we were ready to be homeowners or not. It was like, okay, let's just go kind of look, and man, it's not that way anymore. You got to be
No,
determined. Yeah.
yeah, you definitely got to be ready because if it is that home that you love and maybe you fall in love with and you see you're raising a family there, we need to get going and we need to make good offers and really as a broker you definitely want to know what the seller is looking for. That way you can write the offer appropriate for your client and them and play their best assets. So
Yeah. So how do you see inflation? And we're seeing inflation take off here. People have been talking about how is that affecting. I mean, the housing shortage,
Mhm.
and that has affected it hugely. But is inflation even affecting that more? What are you observing there?
I feel not necessarily because we live in a valley, and so there's not a lot of new building. So regardless of inflation or not, homes are always going to be expensive in this town. Um, things have slowed down a tiny bit from last year, where it's not so crazy where you have 10 plus offers, but still, I mean, you're still getting about 5 offers. And it's important, to keep that in mind. But I think the market is going to stay very, just kind of how you see it right now. If it's a popular home, it will go like a hotcake. If the agent put something in there that we're reviewing offers in a week, that is the only reason why it's staying now. Otherwise, it would have already been gone.
Wow.
And there is, homes about 600,000 that they are staying a little bit longer on the market, but not very much. I mean, you're talking about a week and a half at the most.
So, how can a buyer make their offer look a little bit more appealing? What can they do to make themselves look the best?
It just depends what they have to offer. Is their closing date negotiable? Uh, Bigger earnest money? Is it a cash offer? What type of loan is it? Because a lot of sellers look at that. I mean, if you have 5 offers and you have cash offer, but then you have an FHA or conventional, most sellers are going to pick the cash offer. So it's so important to take these things into consideration. And what does my buyer have to offer that the seller will be like, wow, I want that one. Let's pick this one. And so that's kind of how the game is.
And I think I saw in the news where now love letters are allowed. That's what they are. Realtor, what do they call buyer's letters? I mean, talk about that a little bit?
Well, you know what? Last year, when the market was extremely crazy,
Yeah.
we were kind of doing that. But this year, we're not allowed. So,
Okay.
at least in Oregon, we are not allowed to write letters of, I want to raise my family here. I have 3 children. My husband works for the school district, or he's he works for the police. We can't present those. So, nope. All you have is, what do you have to offer to the seller? Again, how much more are you willing to pay for the house? Because there's a lot of homes right now that are being sold above asking price. And so those type of things are really good to, keep in mind. But there's no such thing as a love letter anymore. That is out the window.
Well, I thought I thought maybe something
Yep. There
maybe was
was
coming
last year.
back, but I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, no. Just because, it doesn't, I guess the way they look at it is, when you do something like that, not everybody does submit one, or it's not fair to everybody. So it's pretty, clean and.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you.
Mhm.
But because it's kind of like, I mean, if you have a good sob story, it, then that it's yeah, I don't, and anybody can write a sob story. Anybody
Yeah,
can write anybody can write their story, you know, like
and
in the best possible way. Yeah.
yeah, and and some homeowners that that they're selling, some sellers, they grow attached to their homes. Maybe they've been living there for 50 years, 30 years, and you write this letter to them. And of course, they want their home to go to a good family where, you know, they raise their kids there and everything else. But at the end of the day, yeah, we can't do that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, anything else that you can think of that a buyer can do that, helps them?
Definitely get pre-approved. I think that's a big one. Don't wait till the last minute to talk to your lender, because they might need pay stubs, they might need taxes from a couple of years back, and it's just so important. That way, when you go in there, you're ready to make an offer, and then you know exactly what you're looking for, what price range. Maybe you want your monthly payments to be 1,000 or 1,500, or maybe you can afford more than that. But it's so important to get pre-approved. I can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and again, that is, I mean, my heart goes out for buyers like that,
Yes,
you
it's
know,
a.
yeah, because if based upon your income and your financial situation or whatever the case might be, this is the house you can buy, and it caps out at a certain amount, then and that house and that market is really competitive. I mean, that's very challenging. I would hate to be in that place, and I'm sure
Yes.
there's a lot of people there.
Yes, and again, that's why when you talk to your lender, I mean, there's different programs depending on what you make.
Yeah.
For instance, there's a program right now that sometimes they'll even pay for your closing costs. So it's just really important. If anybody has any questions about that, we work really close with lenders at Remax. I mean, we go hand in hand. And the reason is because of that. You want to know what your closing costs will be. You want to know how much all the fees. And so, or if there's any programs out there that cover those type of things, depending on how much you make, of course. And so, yeah, it's rough.
And I can see, I mean, I love your energy, Alma. And I can just see that you would be really motivated. I mean, I'm sure that you get personally connected with buyers who are trying to find a house, and you're looking for a solution for them all the time.
Yes, I mean, I really do because, I feel that, like I tell them, I'm a salesman, but at the end of the day, I advocate for you guys.
Right.
So if you guys are doing great, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
But my clients are for life. And I want them to understand that because even after we close our transaction, I still send them stuff in the mail. I still keep in touch with them. They might not like it, but I still do all those things because, I think it's important again to build those relationships and to, say, hey, how are you doing? This is your 1 year anniversary in your house. How is it going? How are the kids? I think things like that are extremely important.
Yeah. So what do you do personally to stay on top of your game? Are there classes or education that you're a part of?
Yep. So we're always taking classes. For instance, I just took my code of ethics. And then with our license, we have to have so many hours of education. And with the market, it's so important to see what changes. Because trust me, if you're not doing something right, the market will let you know.
Yeah.
I promise. So, for instance, one of my clients' offer got rejected. And so I keep tabs on that house to see what it actually sold for. It's important for me to understand how come my client's offer didn't get accepted.
Right.
Where did we go wrong and what I can do to change it for next time. So by the time it closes, I look back and it tells me, the house closed it was a cash offer, or it closed with a conventional loan and it was $15,000 overpriced. And so then I know that, it was out of our reach, or yes, it was a cash offer and my clients had an FHA, so.
Right.
It's important to know those things.
So with a cash offer, does it close faster? I mean,
yes and no. Yes, it does close faster in a way because, you don't have to wait for the lender, and you can close a lot faster. But sometimes no, because escrow might be packed and you just have to wait your turn in line. So our escrow office, sometimes they're really busy, and you want to close in 30 days or 20 days, but at the end of the day, if you're in line and you're waiting for your turn, it might still be 40 days, 60 days. It just depends, really.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Alma, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Anything else that we need to cover before I turn you loose?
Not that I can think of, but if there's any buyers out there or sellers, I would love to help them.
Good.
Give our office a call.
All right. And Remax Real Estate is right downtown here in La Grande, right across the street from Umpqua Bank, the closed branch of Umpqua Bank downtown. And so glad that you're here. I'm personal friends with Shauna and Randy. And in fact, Shauna I bought and sold a house through her.
That's
and
awesome.
So
she's great.
yeah. And so just really good people, and
Yeah.
appreciate them committing to being in downtown LeGrand. That makes a big difference. So thanks a bunch. And
Thank you.
yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Have a nice day.
All right. All right. Hey, so now it's just you and me. Glad that you're here. I'm just going to stick around for a couple minutes here. If you want to be a part of the show, I'd really love to talk to you. Go to you can jump on in video at EOA.news, and literally in your browser EOA.news, and there's a link. Um, there's a place where you can private chat me once you get in, and if I don't recognize you, you'll have to help me know who it is that you are and kind of what it is that we're going to talk about. But I am interested. If there's anything that you want to talk about, or any questions that you want to ask, maybe about EOA and what's going on, I'm kind of curious as to know what are we going to do now that COVID is diminishing? What do you think is going to be, are people going to come back together? Do you think people are going to keep wearing masks, even though the mask requirement has been released? Just kind of interested in knowing what you guys think and how that's going. On Thursday, 2 days from now, we are going to have George Mendoza, and then also one of the members from the PAC that is advertising to pass the bond. George is going to be here, be talking about the bond and answering questions. And so I think it's Joe Justice that's going to be a part of that. So be sure and be a part of that conversation. We'd love to have your, I don't know, whatever. If you don't think it's fair, or you want to complain about the bond or the school and the way that it uses money, this would be your perfect opportunity for you to pipe in and ask questions or whatever the case might be. So that's going to be the show on Thursday. So I'm trying to think what else is going on here. I think that hopefully Kyle will be back with us by then. And sure miss him when he's not here. I think that for now, since we don't have anything else going on that's really pressing, maybe take one more look, if I can get there. One more look at the weather. Maybe still kind of drizzly out there. But so have an umbrella with you today if you wander out. Being here. Appreciate you guys being here this morning. And we'll see you here on Thursday with George Mendoza talking about the school bond that is coming up. Thanks a lot.